Start the intro. Hi everyone, and welcome to Freedom Fridays. I am Dr. Nakiba Jackson. Thank you for joining me on Freedom Fridays. Freedom Fridays is a channel that I started that allows me to share with you my journey as I have been releasing the weight of the past to allow me to free up my future. It's a wellness journey that I've been on, and over a year ago I decided that I wanted to start documenting just so I can share what's been going on with me and then just share what's working, what's not working. So thank you for joining. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and like the video and comment. So this Freedom Friday, I'm going to talk about the freedom to be sensitive. So what am I talking about this week? So if you've been following my journey, you've known that I have started off sharing and journaling what's been going on with my weight, what I've been eating, and what's been working and what hasn't been working. Sometimes it's been fluid, like sharing every exact thing that I've been doing, and sometimes I'm not sharing specifically, I'm sharing the results. So this time I've been committed to just sharing more of my results along the way and what's really been working, and just sharing with you what I'm learning as I'm going through this. So hopefully you'll get something out of it and share with me what's working for you as well. So just to start off, I said I was going to get under 300. I did not make it there just yet. Again, I'm at 301.5, so I'm making it there. And what worked well for me this week was continuing to work out every day and continuing to, well, I didn't get the rest that I said I was going to get, but I still get up no matter what time I get in. I still get my workouts done, and I'm also drinking water, and I also committed to cooking 3 times a week, so that's been working for me. And then I've been walking at lunchtime, and the days that it's not, I've just been still working out. So also the thing that I also been doing was committed to meeting my step goals, and so I've been working on getting all those things done. I'm still drinking my water. Some days they're more of a challenge than others, but I'm a human being. So why I wanted to talk about the freedom to be sensitive. First of all, I'm going to talk about what sensitive is. So I looked it up online on Merriam-Webster, and it talks about being sensitive is being easily hurt or emotional, also being delicately aware of someone else's attitudes, emotions. Some people also call it being excessively or abnormally susceptible to that. When we talk about being sensitive, also some people have so many different sensitivities, like allergies. Some people are sensitive to certain types of food. When you get your pupils dilated, you can be sensitive to light. I'm sensitive to whatever is going on in my ear. And to me, when you talk about being sensitive, it's being aware of something that's different from what you're normally used to. You can take a negative spin or you can take a positive spin on that. This is driving me insane. So what I've heard people tell me in the past, like, don't be so sensitive. And, I've heard that. I might have said that. I don't know if I have, but I'm human, so I probably have said it too. And this week I've been thinking more about things that you're being sensitive, things that I'm being sensitive to, and why am I being sensitive to it, and what does it mean to me, and what am I committing to moving forward. So some of the things that I get sensitive about is when people ask me certain things about my what I'm eating. I get a little sensitive when people talk about things related to weight. I get sensitive when people say anything about things related to my family and just things like that. And so what I'm learning along the way is there's nothing wrong with being sensitive. Being sensitive gives me an opportunity to continue to be humanized. It lets me know that I'm a human being with feelings, and having feelings allowed me to see what things are having an impact on me and why. And then it gives me an opportunity to truly dive a little deeper into why I'm being affected by those things that's being said. And one of the first things that stands out is sometimes I'm a little sensitive to it because those are things that I'm still working through and I haven't found the quote unquote answer. And so when I realize there's no answer to something and I'm so used to being in solution mode, it gets to be a little rough sometimes dealing with learning that I'm still sensitive about things that I'm still working through. Does that mean that I get to ignore it, what I'm sensitive about, or does it mean I get to explore it? So what it really means is I get to continue to, you've seen this child, I get to continue to explore what I'm being sensitive about, why I'm being sensitive, and what can I actually do to take out the sensitivity. Or not even take out the sensitivity, but to actually embrace it and to change it to something more productive if that sensitivity is allowing me not to be productive. But what I would challenge myself and even you, if you're listening, is when you're sensitive to something, it just gives you an opportunity to not deflect, but actually take time to stop and reflect on what you're sensitive about and why. So for me, like I said, immediately talking about weight, like I'm on a whole channel talking about what's going on with me. So why the heck would I be sensitive about it? Because I'm not perfect. And I had this perception of myself as being perfect. And I had this idea that, yeah, I'm going to lose all this weight in this short period of time. And I'm going to show you that it works. However, I'm a person that's living life. And so as I'm living life, everything... Yes, thank you. I'm going through changes. And as I'm going through changes, I get to see what's working and what's not working. And so for me, being sensitive to that allows me to know that I'm on the right track. Because if I wasn't sensitive to it, it would mean I would be oblivious to what's going on around me. So because I'm sensitive to it, it gives me an opportunity to address it, to reflect, focus on it, and get a plan and continue to move forward. So I'll just share with you, like, the weight thing has been this thing that I've shared previously. Like when I was younger, I didn't have a weight issue. I always had this issue that was going on with me internally. Like I wanted to look a certain way, or I wanted a certain type of attention from certain people. And I equated that with the way that you look in terms of weight. And so for me, when I associated that with weight and the way that I looked, I stopped embracing the person that I really was and started focusing on what someone else wanted to see me as. And then I lost myself along the way. And one of the things that I'm learning is, since I've moved specifically, is, hey, I forgot who the heck I am. I just read this book. It's an older book. It was the sequel to Waiting to Exhale, Getting Back to Happy. And part of that book, it was like people had spent so much time in their life like trying to focus on what everybody else was looking at and trying to create this perfection or keep this persona of perfection going on for other people to see them, that they sort of dehumanize themselves. And when you start dehumanizing yourself, people start expecting superhuman things out of you. Not saying that you're not capable of doing things that's superhuman, but you also get to pay attention to what your real needs are, instead of being so focused on what someone else might think if they see you do this, or if they hear you say this. Start thinking more about what might you think, because people are always going to give us opinions, sometimes solicited, sometimes unsolicited. But the thing is, opinion aside, what are you thinking? What are you feeling about yourself? What are you believing about yourself? And what do you choose to focus on? If you don't like it, what are you focusing on to improve it? And so for me, one of the biggest things that I'm focusing on in this journey is something that's going to be, that is sustainable over a period of time, that sustains when I'm dealing with things that's changing in my life. How am I responding to it, rather than picking up food, rather than stop giving up my time to work out, to do something else? How do I learn to say no? How do I learn to continue to put myself first and stop judging myself when I tell someone else no, and be okay with telling someone else no and telling myself yes, and then being committed to me. And so I've had conversations with some of my friends and family members, and that's what we've just been talking about, just in general, not specifically to weight loss, but, people have this tendency where what someone else says is more important than what you feel and believe about yourself. And when you listen to what someone else says long enough, sometimes you might start believing it if you don't have a foundation for yourself. So I would say be careful and be mindful of what you put and focus your attention on. Have a vision for yourself in your life, what you really want it to look like. Don't be so committed to all of the intricate details of it, but be focused on what are you doing now that's going to have an impact on where you are tomorrow. Regardless of what's going on with you right now, if making this one little step is the one thing that can continue to be the thing that holds you, that can continue to be your guiding light and continue to be your focus in the midst of all this different chaos that's going on around you, hold on to that one thing. As we're changing, as we're growing, as we're learning new things about ourselves, we learn that some of the things that worked before doesn't always work in the past, and sometimes we're always going around trying to recreate something that we used to have instead of trying to create something new. So that's what I would challenge you to today. Get your freedom to be sensitive. Don't be so quick to judge yourself when you get sensitive, or if you hear someone saying don't be so sensitive, cliche, don't be so sensitive about someone telling you not to be so sensitive. Just ask yourself, why are those words impacting you, and what is it about yourself that you really might be avoiding, and what do you want to focus on more? And so when you find out, embracing who you really are as opposed to running away from the person that you're trying not to be, you end up finding out who you really are, and then you get to continue to be sensitive, and you get to embrace the sensitivity, and you get to appreciate you for the person that you're becoming, the person that you are, the person that you've discovered that's been hidden so deep down inside of you. And so what I'll share with you as I close, I get to continue to be sensitive. I get to be unapologetically sensitive. I get to be so sensitive to the point where it stops bothering me when someone tells me not to be so sensitive, because I get to be sensitive. I get to be sensitive because I'm worth my emotions. I'm worth my feelings. I'm worth taking the time to actually see what's working and what's not working. I'm actually worth it to be able to live my life in a state of abundance, gratefulness, and happiness. I get to find what's working for me, whether it's accepted or whether it's not. And that's the thing about it. We get to embrace each other for who we are, where we are, and we get to be supportive in the best way that we know how. Sometimes it just takes some listening to what people are saying and calming the voices in your head that's giving you the things to tell someone. Sometimes people, they already have these, not sometimes, I'm going to be honest. A lot of times we already have the answers inside of us, and people will tell you what you already know. And when people are telling you what you already know, you probably have told them some of the things about yourself before that maybe they weren't listening. They weren't in a place to listen. You weren't in a place to articulate it clearly. You weren't in a place to be able to have that communication the way that you needed it to. And I'll say, because you're still here, you still got a chance to continue to improve upon yourself. You still got a chance to work on it. And what's life with perfection? And you have nothing to look towards. So I would say continue to be sensitive. Continue to be sensitive to people telling you not to be overly sensitive. And then if you're one of those people that tell someone not to be sensitive, you ask yourself, what's in it in you that gives you the authority to tell someone not to feel how they're feeling, not to be aware of someone else's emotions? How do you know they're not being sensitive with your needs? There are some things that people could possibly tell you that they're not because they're being sensitive. Just because you can say it doesn't mean you should. Sometimes we just have to take time to sit back, listen, reflect. And sometimes our support is just showing up and saying, I'm here. And that's what I wanted to share today. So being fully transparent, where I'm at right now, it is definitely not Friday, but hopefully where you are is Friday. But I wanted to continue to share, because sometimes I still have a struggle with sharing, because sometimes it's like if people ever gone through some of the issues with dealing with working on losing weight, working on getting yourself to a new version of healthy. I recall a time some years ago when I was doing a particular program, and I was seeing some great success following what I was being told, and I was getting in like those little 100 calories snack cakes, and I was doing well, like losing weight. My body was getting thin. I was gaining a lot more muscle, and then somebody came and looked at what I was sharing with them, because we were sharing our food log freely, and they said people are eating all these 100 calorie snacks, and I'm like, people is me. And they was like, you shouldn't be eating those, and I'm like, but I'm following what you said, and I'm still losing the weight. And so, but you shouldn't be eating them. So what in that moment, what I end up doing was, I'm like, well, I'm still eating because they told me to follow this plan. I'm following the plan. I'm figuring out a way to make it work, and I'm still doing well. Now, because I'm eating these snack cakes, so I love those little snack cakes. Now I'm feeling like I gotta be perfect. And so I started eating, and I stopped putting the stuff on my food log. So I wasn't being like real transparent and real authentic. And what I found out is, when I get so concerned about everything and everybody else, and I stop being true to myself, I end up losing myself along the way. So that's what I want to share. Be sensitive. Feel free to be sensitive. Be sensitive. Be as sensitive as you need. But don't let that sensitivity derail whatever progress that you're making. Keep going. You're worth it. You're worth it. You're worth it. And that's all I wanted to share today. So you have a great day. See you next week. Sayonara.